Provo from Fitting Fitness In. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition specialist, and welcome to Get Healthy with Holly. On today's show, I'm going to show you a few healthy side dishes that you can substitute for some of the more traditionally fattening dishes that you have at Thanksgiving. Plus, I'm going to show you a low-fat, low-sugar, delicious dessert. So if you're diabetic, this is a dessert for you. This Thanksgiving, probably the gatherings are going to be a little smaller because of the pandemic. And if you're staying home, that gives you more control of the foods that are on your dinner table. And I know that I'm going to go with a little bit more healthier foods, and I hope that you do too. But just because they're healthier doesn't mean they're not going to be tasty. So I'm going to start with dessert because this dessert needs to chill. And this is a chocolate caramel peanut crunch pie. Now, if you're, well, it does have peanut butter and it has peanuts, so it is not good for someone who is allergic to nuts, but this is a very tasty dessert. We start with 2 tablespoons of softened butter, 2 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter, 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. We're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/3 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of rolled oats, quick cooking rolled oats, that is. 1/3 cup of finely crushed graham crackers. I had a lot of fun crushing those. Put them all in a bag and then banged them with a mallet. It was awesome. And then 1 cup, which is 1 cup of this fat-free, sugar-free chocolate pudding mix. So it's equal to 2 of these boxes. That equals 1 cup. 1 3/4 cups of, I'm using 1% milk. The recipe calls for non-fat milk, but we use 1% at home. 3/4 cup of frozen light whipped dessert. It's thawed right now. 1/4 cup of unsalted dry roasted peanuts that we're going to top it with. And a tablespoon of caramel, which is this, a tablespoon of sugar-free caramel, this is the ice cream topping. I'm looking forward to that. And 1 egg white. So we have all of our ingredients. Let's get mixing. In this bowl, I'm going to start with the butter. The 2 tablespoons of butter. And the peanut butter. There we go. This is my favorite peanut butter, which is Smucker's Natural. This is natural and organic. This is creamy peanut butter. You want to have creamy peanut butter. Okay, and then we're going to mix it in our mix-in bowl. For about 30 seconds. You want to do it on a medium to high speed so that you mix them together. That looks good. Let's bring that down a little bit. All right, and then we mix in our egg white. Oh, well, first we had the brown sugar. Brown sugar, and let's mix that in a little bit first. Have some chunks. Got to get those chunks. All right, hang on. I'm going to use my bigger spatula, my handy dandy spatula that I brought from home that I love, that the handle broke off, but it is actually easier to work with now because of that. Let's get some of that out of there. And bring this down. And let's do some more mixing, get that sugar nice and mixed in. All right, that looks good. So now we're going to put in the egg white. I love vanilla. I just love the taste of vanilla. It's not cheap these days, though. 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And mix that in again. Should get a little fluffy. It's good. And then we're going to put in our flour. Yep. Make sure I get everything off. All right, let's do the flour. And this is going to make the crust. Oh, it's going to be yummy. It's going to have graham crackers and oats in there as well. We won't be licking these, but I am going to try to get as much off as possible. So when I made one of these last night, so that I can show you the finished product today, of course my husband's like, is there anything I can lick off? I said, yes, you can use the mixers, the beaters. So let me clean all that off. There we go. You know, peanut butter is kind of sticky. Tough to get it all out. But I want to make sure I have as much in there as possible. All right. Put those in there, and then we mix in the graham crackers. Get everything off the side. And the oats, the rolled oats. Here we go. And mix it all. Oops, shoot. That's not good, is it? Got a little in the milk. All right, got that off. Now I'm going to take my spoon because it's getting a little thicker. But I'll be using my handy dandy spatula again. So we want to mix this in nicely. So the one thing I find, you know, in the kitchen, a lot of people bake because it's calming. And it is calming. I know it helps one of my daughters. She loves to bake. And you know, as long as it's controlled and you follow the recipe and it turns out good. But, you know, you want to, it's something to take your mind off of everything else going on. And I got to tell you, this is election week right now, and it's a very stressful week. And today's the Thursday of that week. And on Tuesday night, you know, I was trying to prepare for this, sitting in the family room with my husband watching the election results, and it was just so stressful. They were just, you know, the news, we kept switching from one channel to another, and they were just talking so much, and there was so much going across the screen. I was just like, I can't do this. I had to leave and go out of the room. It was just too stressful. And this week is still stressful, and it's kind of hard for most people to focus with everything going on, but okay, here we go. Now, so this is our crust. And what we need to do is put it inside of the pan that I just sprayed a little bit of spray on so that we can cook it. Now, it says to dampen your fingers and press it in with your fingers. Well, I discovered last night that didn't really work so well. So I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to press it with my spatula. And hopefully that will work. If not, the other little handy, helpful Holly hint is just spray a little Pam on your fingers, and then when you press it down, it won't stick. But I'm finding that using my spatula is working good. So you want to, let me move it over here so we can see it better. Let me give you some room here. It's not going to go all the way up, but you want it to cover the bottom and at least come up somewhat on the edges. Push it in here. You get a little bit of a workout here. This is a good bicep workout. Pushing it up, making sure everything is covered, and flattened it and make it thin enough so that you can cover more. Oops, a little too thin. So you can cover more of the pie plate. And then we preheated the oven to 350, and I'm going to stick this in the oven But before I do that, I'm going to take a double layer of aluminum foil, and I'm just going to spray it a little bit with Pam. And then I'm going to press it in there. Here we go. And I'm going to put it in to bake for 8 minutes. Okay, now that that's in the oven, while that's cooking, I'm going to make the topping. Let me get a bigger bowl because we're going to need it. All right, so now we're going to combine the chocolate pudding mix with the milk. And we're going to whisk it for 2 minutes. So now, because we're using 2 containers worth of pudding mix, it's not going to get creamy. It's going to get more like a paste, actually, I found when I made one last night. Always making one ahead of time. This recipe comes from the Eating Well website, but it's from diabetic. It's from one of the diabetic magazines, so it's good for diabetics. All right, so keep mixing this. This is kind of rewarding as well. But boy, it's getting a little harder to mix. As it thickens, it's definitely getting a little bit harder. Here we go, nice. So I find that using these light whipped toppings, and especially the light, like the Cool Whip, but this is I don't have this, I just have the store brand today. Those are really nice because they fluff up a nice recipe. Oh, look how thick it's getting, see? Here we go. Nice. So this, we're going to set aside so it can thicken. There we go. Nice. So it can thicken, and then once that crust comes out of the oven, we're going to put that in. Okay, 8 minutes is up. Let's check the crust. All right, we're going to bring it over here. And then you want to pull this off gently. That's why we sprayed it, so it will come off easily. There we go. That's nice. And then we cook it for another 5 to 7 minutes to brown it up. Look at that. That looks good. Now we're going to have to let that cool off before we can put the chocolate and the topping inside. Let's make our Grand Marnier Cranberry Sauce. And again, if you don't want to use Grand Marnier, you can use orange juice. So we're going to start with a 12-ounce package of cranberries, fresh cranberries, and we take half of a cup and set it aside because we're going to use that later, and we'll start with these. And then we have 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, regular sugar. We have 2.5 tablespoons of water. That's going to help us cook that down. We have 2 tablespoons of grated orange peel, which I did this morning. We're going to use 1 tablespoon of Grand Marnier. I was so happy when the liquor store had a tiny one because I was thinking, I have to buy a big bottle and I'm only going to use 1 tablespoon. But when I asked, they had one, so it's very cute. And then we'll have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and pepper to add into it. So we will start by putting our cranberries in. Let me get this going. And we're going to put it on medium height, or medium heat. Medium height, that sounds good, doesn't it? So, and we'll add that. The cranberries, we'll add the sugar. Seems like a lot of sugar, doesn't it? Oh no. And the 2.5 tablespoons of water. And we're going to let that cook down. It's colorful. It's very Christmassy, red and white. All right, let that cook. We're gonna let it cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. Here we go. Now we pull it off and we put these in. So it makes it just a tiny bit tart. You know, you think that it doesn't taste so well, but it really does. It adds just a little bit tart because everything else is sweet. All right, so then we put in the salt and pepper. Mix that in. I guess I wouldn't have thought there'd be pepper in a cranberry sauce, but this is mixed nice. I'm going to pull my crust out. I hope that it's cooled off enough, and then we'll put in our chocolate filling. Okay, so I actually put it in the refrigerator so that it would cool off faster so that we could finish it off. Let me move this stuff over. So I'm going to take this chocolate and fill my pan, my pie pan. So you see it's really more like it's not like a smooth pudding, it's more like a paste, a chocolate paste, which has a rich, very rich chocolate flavor. But again, remember, it's low sugar and low fat. Yay. All right, and then we're just gonna push this in here. Leave a little bit of the crust showing, just so you can get a look at all of it. I don't want to lose any of this nice chocolate. All right, good. Let me put that there and grab a clean spoon, because now we're going to put this whipped topping. Now, this is light whipped topping. Makes it nice and light, but tasty. All right. So I am going to smooth that in. Again, you want to leave just a little bit of the chocolate showing too, so you can see what's in there. All right, and now you want to chill this for at least 1 to 24 hours. So I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to pull out the one that I made last night, and we can finish it up. And just grab a little spoon, because I want to drizzle the caramel on top. So you spread the peanuts on. Oh, that looks good. Oh my goodness. This is going to be my favorite one. And then you just drizzle some of the caramel. Little drizzles. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? So this is fat-free caramel. Again, another light addition to it. Oh, that looks good. Look at that. That looks awesome. All right, we're going to hold that off to the side, and we're going to finish up our cranberries. So our cranberries, we're going to put them in the bowl. Look at that. So colorful. I'm loving it. Look at those colors. Okay, and then we have to do our, is it 1 tablespoon? 1 tablespoon of Grand Marnier. Ooh. Okay, again, you can use orange juice instead. I'm not going to go too much. Put that in there and mix it up. Look at how yummy it is. So some other things that you can do to help de-stress during the holidays is go outside. I mean, outside is awesome. Hopefully it's a nice day when you're all together. And that may be the only time you can get together. If we don't Zoom, then we're going to hopefully go visit. My husband's parents are in Rhode Island, his sister's in Connecticut. And so we're going to try to, if we can, get together with them outside. We won't do the meal, but we'll get together with them outside. Okay, so we have that. And then we will garnish it with our orange rinds. We'll mix that in and then I'll garnish. We want to mix it in and we'll have some on top. Oh, I'm very excited about this cranberry sauce. I don't know about you guys, but it sure beats the kind from the can. Although I don't know if my daughter Marissa is going to appreciate this because she really likes the kind from the can. That's one of her favorites. So we just put that on top. Okay. And let's move all of this out of the way. And here we have our Grand Marnier Cranberry Sauce and our chocolate caramel peanut crunch pie. Lovely. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you take some time for yourself over the holidays. Make sure that you care for yourself. Do something fun to de-stress. Eat right, exercise. If you're going to be home, you can cook healthy meals or healthy sides during your Thanksgiving meal, and get outside, enjoy each other, play games, maybe board games, go out and play an outside game like cornhole. But definitely get outside and do something. So thank you again for joining me. And the recipes that I showed today will be up on my website, fittingfitnessin.com. Have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And I'll see you next time on Get Healthy with Holly.